Hello, my name is Franz, MyBoxingCoach. I'm going to do a bit of a different video for you this time. This weekend, unless you've been living in a cave somewhere, you might be aware that Floyd Mayweather faces off against Manny Pacquiao in possibly certainly the most eagerly anticipated match since the year 2000, I guess, maybe quite some time before. It's been much delayed, and this type of video is not something I would generally do as a rule. I'm a coach, so I tend to do very direct coaching videos, but I'd like to think that I can do something with this that you'll be able to learn something with, so I'm going to do a technical analysis. Besides which, I've had a lot of emails and requests to have a look at this fight. I've done one prediction previously and it came off, Frotch against Groves. I think a lot of people happen to put a few bob on that in terms of a bet, so people are eager to see what I've got to say about Mayweather Pacquiao. Rather unsurprising. So let's just give a little overview about what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at a number of aspects. I'm going to look at the physical characteristics of both guys. I'm going to look at their technical capabilities. I'm going to make the prediction and talk about the tactics. So 3 areas. I'm not going to cover the history, I'm not going to cover the politics or any of the other generics. So look, there's tons of top journalists out there who will give you all of that chapter and verse. I'll stick to the technical and the tactical, and we'll see where we go from there. Okay, let's think about the physical makeup of both guys. Manny Pacquiao, 5'6.5", there or thereabouts, and a 67-inch reach, so fingertip to fingertip. And importantly, he's a left-hander. He's a southpaw. Quite an important aspect. A lot of people think that's going to work in his favour. Floyd Mayweather, taller, 5'8", quite a significant reach advantage. He's got a 72-inch reach, so that's around about 2.5 inches at each end. That's a big deal when you're talking about guys of this calibre. And he's right-handed, so we're talking about the classic southpaw versus orthodox matchup. Let's look now at the technical aspects of Floyd Mayweather. He's got a wide orthodox stance, a stance that was very much developed in his elite amateur days, and he's never really moved away from that greatly. Lots of control. He's got a feel for range like few fighters I've ever seen. I mean, this guy knows his position to the millimetre in relation to his opponent. Hence you see him do lots of laybacks, so he'll just lay back very slightly, allow a shot to fall short, and he fires back in, backhand, straight right hands. His timing is about as good as you get. A lot of people, you know, he's a speed demon, certainly. But for me, it's his timing of shots, it's his timing of the opponent coming in, that is the real thing that sets him apart. Defensive acumen, very clever. You notice he does things like, people always talk about this type of defence. We might see him use that defence a lot more against Pacquiao because Pacquiao's a southpaw. We'll tell you about that in a minute. But you see him use this type of defence. He's very slippery, very smart in defence. You land a punch full blown on the point of that elbow as I'm blocking it, even with gloves and bandages on, you're going to know about it. He has a great way of scoring with his jab as well. He tends to widen his stance and therefore makes his jab much more effective. So he stretches that stance out, pops the jab off. And something I always find surprising, people seem to think that he runs, so you see a lot of these memes where he's running here, running there, and I just don't see it. He holds the ground and he provides threat. You don't have the kind of record he has, you don't reach the successful heights he has reached by running away from people. And he controls the fight, so when he doesn't want to fight, he won't. He'll do things like the waist bend, he'll just bend over to his sort of right side, and that, you know, the opponent will bang in on top of him, and it stifles the pace of the fight. And he's also competitive. Never wants to come off second in any kind of exchange, and very seldom does. Incredibly competitive. Trains every day. gets up every morning and believes he is the greatest thing ever. He's the full package for me. He really is as good as I've seen. Okay, on to Pacquiao. Like Mayweather, Pacquiao's got a wide stance. And the interesting thing about having a wide stance, a lot of people think that, oh, it makes you shorter, and okay, it does, but it doesn't make your arms shorter, which is what really matters. But the thing about having a wide stance, not a stance that's too wide, but a wide stance improves your ability to make small, explosive movements. Both of these guys make their living by making small, explosive foot movements in and out of range. And that wide stance enables them to do that. If they had a narrow stance, they'd be much more lumbering. You wouldn't see the dynamic sort of movement in and out. Pacquiao's a southpaw, but he's a very unconventional southpaw. As a southpaw, most of the time you're coached to go that way. So you would move away from the orthodox boxer's power hand, the backhand. Okay, you move out that way. What Pacquiao does, he actually moves left, therefore tempting the orthodox opponent to throw the backhand. But as he moves left, he moves very slightly diagonally away. Okay, so as he's going that way, he's coming away from the backhand. The opponent thinks he's in range, launches with the backhand, leaves himself exposed. So whilst he's moving left, the thing you notice is that majority of his attacks come down the right channel. Yeah? So we've got a southpaw that doesn't move that way to try and dominate that ground, which is where most southpaws are coached to do. He actually moves that way, but still attacks down that way. This is all about how responsive his feet are and how brilliant his footwork is. Intense double attacks. Okay, so he'll be standing and he'll go in, out, in, out, in, out. He won't just attack and then come away and then attack. What he actually does is links them together. So we move in, attack, out, in, out, in. So he will do 2 or 3 attack techniques with 2 or 3 punches each time. So he's in effect throwing a 9-punch combination. Bang, 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 bang. Really intense. He's a long-range specialist. Lots of feints, lots of slips, lots of rolls, lots of angled shots. Tactically very astute, incredibly fit and super strong. For a little guy, super strong, incredibly strong. And he's continued to learn as a fighter. If you watch him in his very early days, and this is all down to Freddie Roach, to be honest with you. Pacquiao he's got his success really. He's got Freddie Roach to thank for all of that. So brilliant fighter. Mayweather, brilliant fighter. Literally mouth-watering for those amongst us who are real, enjoy a good tactical fight. This is the one for us. Okay, on to the prediction. Both these guys are classed as counter-punchers. I always find it difficult to separate excellent boxing from excellent counter-punching. They're two very similar things to me. Both long-range specialists, but critical in this, Mayweather has key advantage. He's bigger. He's got longer arms. Okay, so both have got an excellent feel for range. But I think there's an old adage in boxing, a good big un will always beat a good little un. Okay, so I think Mayweather's got some real advantages. He can control it at long range. We're going to see lots of lead hand defence, so block Pacquiao's incoming lead hand jab and fire instantly with backhands. Okay, Manuel Marquez used this to good effect in the fights with Pacquiao, and it is something he is susceptible to. You're also going to see Mayweather use the lay back and timed backhand a lot, and feinting the lead hand, so he'll feint and try and control things with his left hook. So there's 3 areas that you're going to see Mayweather continually do throughout. He's going to look to stifle the lead hand work of Pacquiao and take him at long range. One thing you won't see him do is the waist bend, because whilst that would work against orthodox boxers, against a southpaw, if he bends over to his own right, he's bending right into the power zone of Pacquiao and he'll eat right hook. So I don't see him doing that. I think he may use this defence a little bit more than we've seen him use in recent fights. mainly because if he's against a southpaw, this shoulder provides excellent defence against hooks. This provides excellent defence against, so lead hand hooks, backhand hooks here. So I think that might be something he uses. But if this is going to be a chess match, Mayweather's going to win it quite convincingly, I think. Which is all well and good. You know, I'm not telling you anything there that you don't really know. Okay, maybe some of the technical bits and bobs, but hell, all of the bookmakers have got Mayweather a long favourite in the 2-horse race ultimately. So what would I do if I was Freddie Roach? What would I be looking for Pacquiao to do? Well, I would treat it as a fight of two halves. I would put all of my money on my guy being able to set a higher pace and keep a higher pace. So I would set him out right from the outset. He has to take risks. Manny Pacquiao is not going to outthink and outsmart Floyd Mayweather at long range. I just don't see it. Regardless of him being a southpaw, I think Mayweather will deal with the southpaw stance. What Pacquiao has to do is use those double attacks, use that explosive footwork and fight with aggression and intensity. If he can work Floyd Mayweather hard in the first 6 rounds, then in the home straight in round 7 through 12, I think he'll have a reasonable chance if he can do that. You know, it's his best chance. So I think, yeah, I'm not convincing myself on that one. I just think Mayweather's too clever on every level. So for those guys who like to have a bet, what would they be betting on? I think potentially that Manny Pacquiao may visit the canvas once or twice in the later rounds, because as the bout goes on and potentially he'll have to take more risks if he's set out as at a conservative type of style from the outset. He'll have to take more risks, and I think if I was a betting man, which I'm not, but if I was a betting man, I'd be looking to maybe stick some money on Pacquiao getting knocked down in the later rounds. But other than that, I see a fairly straightforward Floyd win. Look, if you're a Pacquiao fan, look, please don't. I absolutely think these two guys are absolutely brilliant in the ring. I don't look at what goes on outside the ring. In terms of fight excitement, fight enjoyment, skill, professionalism, elite sportsmanship, these two guys for me have been head and shoulders above everyone over the last 10 years or so. So it's a fight I'm really looking forward to. Who knows, maybe afterwards we can have I'll post another video. Let me know if you'd like that. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Feel free to put your comments and questions down below, or I could do without the personal abuse. If you are going to throw some personal abuse my way, try and at least make it funny. I can live with that. Otherwise, enjoy the fight, and I will see you next time. Cheers.